What is up, everybody? How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see you, all of your wonderful faces. Not really, it's a bunch of fonts on a screen, actually, in chat. Welcome. Happy evening, Alpha. I hope you guys had a great day. It's Tuesday, man. Man, time is flying already. I cannot believe it's the second quarter of 2022. I can't believe things are moving just so quick. And it is fantastic. But I am so thankful that you are all here. And where is here? What are we doing here? Well, this is Evening Alpha, where we sit down every night, usually with a cup of tea or with my Hanukkah mug, or with a glass of wine, and we just reflect on the day. We look at what's happened in the day. Maybe there's been some news, and we talk about it. And what makes this thing different? Well, there's two things. The first is that my name is Todd Wanish. I'm a founder. I am not necessarily a YouTuber. I founded a company called Adult Fantasy. It's a comic and animation NFT character franchise brand designed by a team of veterans from Marvel Entertainment and Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. And what we do is we connect our community members, who we affectionately call adults, with world-class storytellers, and together we are developing prominent Web3 characters and character franchises for use in entertainment and licensing and publishing. We are going right after the jugular vein of Marvel Entertainment, what they used to do so well, and we feel like they dropped the ball. Thankfully, I'm so happy that Disney is just a shit show. But it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because I do love Marvel, we do love DC, Warner Brothers, and Disney. All good things must come to an end, and we are looking forward to doing our part to take them down a notch and raising up independent creators. So why is that so special? Well, in terms of Evening Alpha, we're not necessarily just like YouTubers, right? So you're not going to hear anything like 5 amazing altcoins to get today, or the 3 things you have to think about when, flipping NFTs. We're not doing anything for clickbait here. Really what we're doing is, as a group and as people genuinely interested in Web3 and the NFT space and crypto, we're actually diving into the deeper side of things so that we can get educated and so that we can learn. And really, as a founder, this is also the time that I have during the day to learn and continue growth. And I love to share my thoughts with you guys. And it's really good to have a discussion about this stuff, because this stuff affects all of us. Let's see who we have here. Who is here? Oh man, J-Ra, what's up? ETH 2.0 finally drops in Web 6.0. Yeah, you like that image of Vitalik? That's pretty good, right? Hype, how are you? How are you? Hype says, I was wondering if you were going to cover the Twitter purchase. I mean, we can talk about it. We absolutely can. I certainly have some thoughts on it. There you go. Maybe you can share your opinion offline on that. Yeah, we can talk about it online or offline. Would love to know what you think. Okay, he says no sound. Oh wait, there it goes. You guys can hear me, correct? Let me know if my audio is messed up, because I would kind of need to know that. What's up, J-Ra? How you doing, brother? Can you guys hear me okay? I'm assuming you can. Heyo, what's up, Dusty? How are you? Welcome. Again, I know there's a little delay between chat and and video, but let me know if you guys can hear me okay, because if not, I will have to figure something out. Awesome, perfect, great. So there's been a lot of stuff happening. Here's man, Elon buying Twitter. We could talk about that. And I'm curious about what you guys think of it as well. My opinion is it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm happy for Elon. I think it's freaking amazing that one human being, I know he's got partners. There's a couple of partners, or he's put a coalition together to buy Twitter or something. But I find it fascinating that there's one human being that has enough capital and has had enough success that they can essentially pay every single person, every single stakeholder a premium valuation on their stock to own it. Like, that's crazy to me. That's so much money. Like, it's such a huge thing. I mean, I think it's interesting. Twitter, here's the thing. NFT Twitter is awesome. Other parts of other parts of Twitter are cesspools. I avoided Twitter like the plague for years. I remember there were a couple things when Twitter first came out. I had an acquaintance who was a select partner on Twitter, and so when Twitter first started, when you logged in through the onboarding process, it would suggest people to follow, and there wasn't that many people. There was like, maybe 25 people. They were like, oh, you should follow these people, and they would automatically like sign you up, kind of like pre-assign, like you should follow these people, and you had to kind of deselect. It was an opt-out. I think, if I remember correctly, it was an opt-out at the very first version of their kind of partnering micro celebrities or celebrities with people so that you had someone interesting to follow. And so I had an acquaintance, someone that I ended up working with years later, actually, rake in millions of followers. So it's an interesting platform. When I logged on early on, it was pretty gross, to be honest with you. Like I got into like my very first debate with somebody, and they were so vicious that I was like, wow, I really don't, this is not something I want to be a part of. And I don't like feeling negative. I will say that coming into NFT Twitter, coming back really for NFT Twitter, was a different experience. When I came back into Twitter in 2020, I mean, I haven't been back on Twitter that long. I unfollowed every single other person that I was following, minus a couple of friends. Everybody that I was following up to that point was mostly in the entrepreneurial space, so a lot of VCs. And I was just like, you know what, I'm done. Don't want anything to do with that. And all I did was I filled my entire account with NFT creators and founders and projects. And NFT Twitter is awesome. You're always going to have some people that say stupid stuff or toxic stuff or whatever, but for the most part, it's been an actual conversation place. So I've been really happy with NFT Twitter. In terms of Elon buying it, I mean, he's got the right to do it. And, I think it's interesting that Jack Dorsey supports him, saying that he's the one person who he believes could actually improve on it. I do believe that Elon wants to improve on it, and I think it's going to be a better service. Like, the guy has like 6 multi-billion-dollar wins under his belt now. Like, everything that dude touches, at least right now, turns to gold. And I think after all of the freaking out about whether he's going to, bring back these people or ban these people or do whatever, I think what will end up happening is you will end up having a Twitter debate, kind of like it was earlier on, or at least that's what I'm hopeful for, like when it was not so toxic, right? And people should be allowed to say what they need to say. Like, I do think it's important for people to be able to express themselves in ways that are, I think expressing yourself online is much safer than expressing yourself in different ways in person. And there's something called the block button, so like, if you don't want to hear somebody, just block them. You don't ever have to listen to them. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to be involved in anything they say. So, but I'm curious to know what you think, and I'm still evolving my position on it. I'm kind of patiently waiting to see what happens. I mean, at least when it comes to his Twitter persona, I mean, I love the fact that he's kind of a supreme shit poster. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the whole Doge thing, so I thought it was pretty awesome. It's pretty funny. So, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Hype, what do you think? Let me know. You brought it up. I want to know your opinion too, right? I'm interested. I'm curious. I'm interested. I think after everything is said and done, it's going to be weeks of craziness. You're going to have people celebrating, people freaking out, people laughing, people crying, people pointing fingers like ha 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 and no and whatever. I think after all that crap is done, I think we're going to be surprised. I think some people may be surprised that Twitter doesn't actually change that much in its core message, in its core service. Meaning, I think that for most people, you won't even notice a difference, right? I take him at his word. I think he's going to take care of spam bots. I think more human beings are going to be blue checkmarked, which I think is great, because right now, if you're in the NFT space, like, I can't tell you how many like fake spam accounts I get tagging me that have a blue check mark. It's ridiculous. So if we can get rid of the bots and we can get real people blue check marked, you know what I mean? Like, I think like even Cosimo De Medici, which is Snoop Dogg on Twitter, who also has like 1 point whatever million followers, like he couldn't even get a blue check mark. He couldn't get verified on Twitter. So like, it's a stupid process. So I think there's a lot of things that can occur that are going to be improvements. Yeah, I mean, and as long as you still have the freedom to not listen to someone's bullshit, like as long as you can still block somebody or hide somebody or not have to deal with somebody, I think that's great. I think that's the future, in my opinion. Dusty says, whether it's NFT culture or real life, conversations are important learning avenues. I trust that Elon wants to take Twitter back to a space for productive open discourse again. I do too. I don't think he's gonna like I said, I think we're gonna be pleasantly surprised, or the people that are freaking out are gonna be pleasantly surprised. I just look at what he's built, and he built what he built with PayPal, what he built with Neuralink, what he's building with Tesla, and what he's building with SpaceX. And there's nothing there that says, there's nothing in those businesses that says anything other than him trying to build something really good. You know what I mean? For everybody. So regardless of personal opinion or whatever, like I think, or personal belief systems, I think he's kind of, I do believe him. Same thing, Dusty. I do believe that he wants to take Twitter back to a productive open discourse. Whether he can do it, who knows? When he talks about free speech, hey, what's up, Dick Enzis? What's up, brother? When he talks about free speech, what example topics is he talking about? I can only think of one particular banned person. Maybe. I mean, I don't. But see, I think maybe. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been banned on both sides, right? Like, I actually know. I mean, I'm fortunate to know a lot of people on all sides of the political spectrum, like including my own personal family, right? So I hear it from a lot of all sides. There's been a lot of people on the right that have been banned. There's a lot of people on the left that's been banned. I know some gay rights activists in New York City that got banned from Twitter. So it's all across the board, and they like Republicans. You know what I mean? So it's all across the board. I think. Talking about one particular banned person, I mean, if you're talking about, let's just say it, if you're talking about Trump, like, I think what you're going to find, like, I believe, and this is like outside of my purview. So, this is total blue sky. Like, I don't really know, but I believe, just thinking from a Web 2.0 entrepreneurial founder startup perspective, like, I believe that Trump has, a vested interest in that other social network. Like, there's another social network out there that I believe he's an investor in or has equity in. And so if that's true, and I believe that's true, but to be totally transparent, like, I don't care, and I haven't looked into that. That's just not my thing. So, but I believe he's a equity staked partner in that venture. And if so, then I would have to assume that there are legal agreements in place to guarantee exclusivity to a platform. So I know that he has said he's not coming back to Twitter, and I think that would probably be why, right? Because he has a fiduciary responsibility to the company that he invested in or helped found, or whatever his, whatever his involvement, whether it's like a spokesman or whether it's an actual investor. You guys probably know more about that than I do, but also, yo, what's up, Dick? I say, yo, dude. You were staking alpha. Hey, made it. Why so serious? Oh, Ray, just no, we're good, man. We're moving into the evening stuff. We just started off. Hype asked a question about what you thought my opinion on Elon on Twitter was, and she was curious, so I figured I'd take a little detour. Anyway, detour over. Did that make sense? Like, I think it could be good. We'll see. If not, we'll get some really cool memes out of it. So it'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. Everybody's fine. All right. So here's what we have for tonight. And this actually comes from Carrot. Carrot sent this over, and it was a fantastic article, and I wanted to share it. It was really technically good. So I thought you guys would enjoy it. So let's see what we have here. All right. So this is called Apecoin and the Death of Staking. And this is from Kobe. Kobe is on Twitter. You can add him at I believe it's just at Kobe. At Kobe. This was a fantastic article. And the interesting thing about the article is that while it gets a little technical and specific to Bored Ape Yacht Club and Apecoin and the staking aspects of Apecoin, I think I'm curious, and what got me interested and got me really thinking about things was how the idea of staking affects the broader market, because every single NFT project right now, every single NFT project has some form of staking. It seems staking is kind of like the soup du jour, right? Like there are so many projects staking, and I think this article kind of addresses it really in a blunt way. And I appreciate that. So let's check it out, and then let's have a discussion about it. Hey, Carrots, welcome. Wondered if this is where we were going tonight with this video title. Yeah, thank you. This was a great article. So let's see, and I'm definitely curious to know what you guys think. So let's begin. Recently, I was contacted by a member of the board of Apecoin, which is the BAYC token's equivalent of a board of directors, I guess. They asked for some feedback on some proposal, and I offered my thoughts on a call. I wanted to write about some of the things discussed openly, since I thought they were interesting topics, but particularly because they were topics that coin voting governance is extremely poorly suited to properly solving. Before I start, I don't own any Apecoin, nor am I short Apecoin. I have owned BAYC at times in the past, but don't have any long or short exposure to any Yuga Labs ecosystem stuff currently. I'm not a financial advisor, and it has in fact been long rumored that I am actually an idiot. Oh, that's a fantastic intro. Death of staking. Staking used to mean something. I think it was Peercoin that first launched a proof of stake protocol, so probably about 10 years ago now. Since then, POS has become increasingly popular for new blockchains, with all of the newer trendy ecosystems sitting on POS-ish chains. For Peercoin and the POS networks that followed, staking had a purpose. Owners would offer their coins as collateral for the chance to validate blocks, and they would be rewarded for doing so. Staking, therefore, rewarded users risking collateral and doing work, participating in functions necessary to the continued operation of the network or protocol. This is probably the most important paragraph in the entire article, because I think, and as we'll learn through the article, most people don't know that. And I think it's important to understand that true staking, or at least the original defined term, the original definition of staking, involved owners offering their coins as collateral for the chance to validate blocks, meaning they were taking a risk and they were being rewarded for working, right? They were actually doing work. And I think that's very important in the context of whether things are, compliant with SEC and everything else. So staking, therefore, rewarded users risking collateral and doing work, which was participating in functions necessary to the continued operation of a network or protocol. Somehow, over time, the word staking has been repurposed and redefined. Instead of receiving rewards for contributing to chain security with collateral at stake, modern staking just seems to mean, I don't know, we give you more coins as a reward if you don't sell your current coins, LOL. Which is pretty true. I feel like this is basically like every single project right now is like, we give you more coins as a reward if you don't sell your current coins, lol. These modern staking mechanisms do not have any function in the ecosystem to which they belong. They don't do anything in any practical or technical sense. They don't make an ecosystem more robust. They are a shell game using the name of a different thing to obfuscate their actual purpose, which is to encourage less selling. And I think that's fascinating because this is absolutely true. And when framed like this, it made me question whether it was something that was actually legal for the first time. I never really considered whether, all of these NFTs that are staking in returns for just in returns for coin, how legal is it, right? I mean, he's calling it a shell game, and that may be taking it too far. I'm not really sure. I'm not a lawyer. But it can be true, not always true, but it can be true that the modern staking mechanisms don't necessarily have any practical or technical purpose. Like, they don't really do anything other than like convince you not to sell the thing in order to get more of the thing. So that's fascinating to me. And I think when you hear it like that in blunt English and plain English, you're like, oh yeah, that is actually kind of how it works. Let's see. He says, when POS protocols issue rewards to stakers, they are buying chain security. It's a worthwhile use of equity, meaning the fact that the equity, like when a project hands out reward tokens or gives out any kind of token as a reward, you are literally giving that project is giving you equity, right? They're giving you, representational points towards ownership or more ownership of the thing. So it is an equity stake. When DeFi projects offer liquidity mining programs, they are buying growth and TVL. Depending on how the program is designed, it can also be a worthwhile use of equity. Spending equity for things that makes the protocol more sustainable, a larger or more secure seems worthwhile, which makes sense. If you're going to spend money to make sure that your project or your protocol is more secure or can grow in a stable way. But these staking mechanisms that do not do anything at all except pay users more coins for staking are giving away equity for nothing except to reduce potential sellers' liquidity. If you don't stake, your share of the network or protocol is inflated away by new emissions, which is, as they release more coins, as more currency or tokens come into the market, your share of that is decreased, and therefore the value of it is potentially decreased in terms of equity. Plus, staking has no risk. You can't lose coins because staking doesn't do anything. So lock up your coins, secure them off market today. In fact, we'll pay you to do it. Simply paying users for not selling, payment received in the same asset that they are not selling, it seems like pretty late stage in the games of Ponzi creation. And I think that's fascinating. Again, when you put it into plain English, you can understand why someone could see this, and it does raise the question about how NFT projects are getting away from this or going around it. Like, you certainly have a large number of NFT projects that say, "Hey, stake this thing and get this coin, and we'll just pay you for not selling the NFT or what have you." And or whether it's NFT or whether it's tokens, right? Same kind of difference. But then you also have the newer play to earn mechanic where you stake the NFT and that generates tokens, and then those tokens can be used in some kind of game mechanic, whether there's like a risk of loss or when you like I'm thinking about, like, if you look at like Wolf's Game or whatever, when as you try to take money out, there's a chance of loss, and there's some playable mechanics so that there's a use for the token. And I wonder if that's enough to escape the idea of just paying users for not selling, right? Because there is risk involved, and you are doing work by trying to make some decisions to do something. So it does seem to fall a little more into gaming and risk management or work, as opposed to just earning or profiting off the work of others, which would make it a security, which would fail the Howey test, which would make it against the SEC's regulations and put you and your business in jeopardy. Let's see what you guys are saying about this. Hey Casper, what's up? Been a while, guys. Nice to be here. Welcome back, brother. How you doing? Dickenza's also nesting is framed as loyalty rewards for moonbirds, like airline points, I guess. But same idea, less to sell, right? Nesting, staking, you get loyalty rewards versus coin, and a lot of that is legal framing, right? Getting loyalty points or loyalty credits or reward points is different and categorized different than hey, we're going to pay you directly to not do something or to do something. In fact, this is one of the reasons, like, oh man, that's good tea. Golly. One of the problems in the space as a founder, I can tell you, like, it is very, very easy. Like, and for whatever reason, it always seems like the stuff that you really want to do for people and the coolest things that you could provide always break the law. Like, before we knew anything, like, I'll put it this way. You had like Turtles DAO and there's a number of projects out there that say, hey, you hold this thing and we're going to pay you directly a percentage of the proceeds from sales. Well, that is actually against the law. You can't do that. You know, I would love to be able to be like, hey, everybody, for holding this special NFT, you just get a percentage of everything. Great, cool. Like, that would be so cool, except that it's an investment and we would go to jail. like that, or bad things, insert bad things happening. So it really forces you to be creative in a way to, like, okay, you know, we want to be, we're a company, we're on the up and up, we're honest people, we're not trying to break the law. So what is it that we can do to allow people to earn or to get rewards? Maybe staking is involved, but it clearly has to be beyond. I do think Kobe makes a brilliant point of just saying, like, hey, simply paying users for not selling is basically could be perceived as a Ponzi creation, because you're just building this thing up for no other reason than to build the thing up. There's no activity, there's no work, and as that thing builds up, presumably floor prices and things increase, which could be seen later on once the SEC gets around to it, could be seen potentially as something illegal. Which is really interesting. Ray just says, "What's in the cup?" This is chamomile tea. So it's a hot toddy. Actually, it's chamomile tea, honey, and a shot of whiskey inside of a Hanukkah cup that I have had since I was like 12 years old. So, nothing beats it. Hype TV. That's how the law gets changed through a lot of times. Yeah, exactly. It really is. You know, it's just a delicate balance. You don't want to break the law and you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to be the fall guy, you know, or gal. Like, you don't want to be the person responsible for the law changing. You know what I mean? J-Ross says, Todd dropping tea sponsors. Drink Alpha, tea and whiskey. Never thought of it. Oh, really? Dude. And whiskey. Yeah. It's super good. Sidebar from staking and Apecoin. Like, you put any tea, like, well, it depends. Certain teas mixed with honey, you know, like I find that, like, breakfast teas and light teas mixed with honey, it soothes the throat, which is good for when I'm talking and stuff. And then that shot of whiskey gives it a nice kick. And you just, you know, heat it up and it's like super good. I highly recommend it. It will also cure colds because you're, you know, it just, you've got the alcohol and you've got the honey, which is great for your throat. So if you feel sick, get like one of those teas that is like immune boosting or whatever, and put some honey in there and put some whiskey in there, and you know, usually of course I microwave the water, get it, you know, put it in there. I like it piping hot, so I put it in the microwave for like 2 minutes until it's just like steaming, and then I steep the tea and I pour the honey in, stir it up, pour the whiskey in, stir that up a little bit, and you're good to go. J-Ross says, when I would record back in the days for tracks, I warm up tea and mix a shot of whiskey. Opens up the throat. Yeah, it does. It's really good. C Dickens says you come for the alpha. You come for the staking, and you get tea recommendations. That's what we do here. All right. Apecoin. Okay, quick Apecoin fact sheet. There's 1 billion supply. So this gets really technical. We're not going to go too deep into the technical area aspects of Apecoin, but it's still fascinating inside of the bigger conversation, which is staking, right? Quick Apecoin fact sheet. There's 1 billion supply, and no new coins can be minted or burned. So the total supply will always be 1 billion ape. Token ownership looks like this: 47% Apecoin DAO ecosystem fund, 15% community airdrop, 15% Yuga Labs, 14% launch contributors, i.e. investors, 8% founders, and 1% charity. On the vesting side, it looks like generally there's a 1-year lockup for Yuga Labs, founders and investors, but it does seem like there's some exceptions to that, with some coins unlocked instantly and some after 6 months. The remaining vesting schedule seems to range between 1 and 3 years after the cliff, which with the entire supply 100% unlocked within 4 years. Okay, so that's basically, if you don't know what a cliff is, and let me know if I can explain any of this stuff to you. Some of it I probably can't, but in terms of a cliff, basically there's a lockup period where they can't sell or they can't do anything. And then after that cliff, basically imagine you fall off the cliff and then it opens up, right? So after the remaining vesting schedule seems to range between 1 and 3 years after the cliff. So there's a cliff up to the point of the first year, and then things start to unlock with the entire supply unlocked within that 4-year period. And usually vesting schedules ramp up. So if you have 100% over 4 years, it might be, instead of being 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, it might be 10%, 20%, 30%, and then whatever the remaining is, right? Another 30 whatever percent. So usually it ramps up, and this is done to keep everybody on point and locked, like focused. The reason you want to have a vesting schedule is because if you and I were to start a business together and I said, hey, let's just split it 50-50 and you get 50% and then I get 50%. And we sign a contract where you get 50% and I get 50%. And we start working on the business. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not feeling this anymore. So I'm going to go on vacation and just not come back. Right? Like all of a sudden I'd be gone, and legally I would own 50% of the company and you would be stuck doing all of the work. Happens all the time. It is a very common thing. So the vesting schedule protects everybody to say, okay, well, you won't get anything up to X months, or maybe you'll only get a few percentage points up to a certain point. And if you stick with it, and if you continue to hit your milestones, and if the business grows, things unlock. So it's incentivizing working hard and unlocking more equity for all of the parties involved. So that's basically, in a super basic nutshell, Cliff Notes version of how that kind of stuff works. Does that make sense, guys? I hope I'm not getting too deep into the woods here. Apecoin staking. There is a proposal live for a staking program for Apecoin. It was written by Animoca, which seems to be some hybrid crypto gaming VC software company, and their founder is on the board of Apecoin. I mean, hybrid crypto gaming VC. Animoca is the company behind Sandbox. In the proposal author's words, the goal of this proposal is to make Apecoin the preferred token of Web3 by incentivizing early NFT adopters and existing and potential ecosystem participants to participate, that doesn't make sense, in activities benefiting the ape ecosystem. The proposal itself seems pretty convoluted, but I can summarize it for you. The proposal basically says we should pay 17.5% of the total supply of Apecoin to people that stake their Apecoin over the next 3 years. We should give them different percentage returns if they hold Basie, Macy, and Bored Ape Kennel Club as well. Baxi? I don't know. It's not clear to me how issuing Ape to people that already have Ape is, quote, incentivizing early NFT adopters and existing and potential ecosystem participants to be participatory in activities benefiting the Ape ecosystem. Isn't it just paying people an Apecoin to hold Apecoin? Which is exactly his point, right? That's exactly his point. In fact, if we are being truly honest about the proposal, what it really means is let's pay existing holders for not selling while the founder, investor, contributor unlocks happen, and also so we can fake some utility before any is actually built. So this is basically the let's pay existing holders for not selling while the founder, investor, contributor unlocks happen. So basically the way this would work, or in theory what this does, is where you pay, so everybody locks up their tokens, right? Everybody locks up their Ape coins. They stake the Ape coins, so they're not selling their Ape coins. This reduces liquidity, it reduces supply, which inflates the price. And because of that, all of the people at the bottom, which is us and you, if you own any, would basically get paid for that. So we would make money. But what you're really doing is you're floating the founder, investor, contributor class because they have the most shares. So their valuation is going to pump higher until this whole thing unlocks, and then they can dump it and they sell on the high point. And then the coin can tank, or it can go lower, right? So that's kind of what he's suggesting here is that it's basically the paying people in Apecoin to hold Apecoin benefits, even though everyone gets paid in Apecoin, so everyone benefits. It really benefits the founder, investor, contributor class, right? Devs, token sell pressure, and staking. Like, hey, look, there we go, fixed it. 2.6 billion in rewards for nothing. The current valuation of Apecoin is around $15 billion. That means the DAO treasury holds around $7 billion. God, $7 billion treasury is insane. Animoca's proposal suggests giving away $2.6 billion, which is 37% of the DAO's remaining tokens, for free to holders of Ape over the next 3 years. I got to tell you, that to me is like, as someone that holds Apecoin, it is tempting. Like, I also don't hold it against founder, investor, contributor classes for making as much money as they possibly can. That's just the way the world works, and they're incentivized to make the platform as best as possible, so they get, if someone makes millions and you make hundreds of thousands, is it really bad? Outside of the context of what he's talking about, which is the Ponzi thing, which I kind of agree with, actually. But in general practice, I'm not really anti-investors and the investor class making as much money as possible. That's kind of what they do. And then they use it to invest in other businesses and buy yachts, but whatever. Okay, so since the Ape staking doesn't actually, Animoca's proposal suggests giving away $2.6 billion, 37% of the DAO's remaining tokens, for free to holders over the next 3 years, right? Since this Ape staking doesn't actually do anything practically or technically, it can be imagined simply as a bribe to not sell. It says, we give you more Ape if you don't sell your Ape or base C. The DAO is spending 37% of its remaining equity on this bribe, so it must consider the bribe important. Consider that this equity could be spent on a lot of things. It's currently valued at $2.6 billion. Lots of value could be created for Apecoin that could build a sustainable ecosystem as well as attract new external capital. From an outside perspective, it might appear that the DAO is spending over 1/3 of its remaining equity in order to bribe people not to sell while the early contributor coins pass their early unlock phases. Right? It might appear that the DAO is spending 1/3 of its remaining equity in order to bribe people not to sell. Right? He's still focused on that point. But this seems more conspiracy theory like than practical malicious strategy when you consider the supply-demand dynamic that will follow from the staking program. There's currently 15% of the supply liquid on the market. This inflation emission schedule will increase the amount of supply on the market by 75% in only the first year. And yet I don't believe that it will increase the demand for Apecoin by 75%. Thus, the staking program in isolation could appear harmful to the financial interest of the locked coin holders holding insiders. So this is really fascinating. There's another factor, and I don't have it pulled up. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'm going to totally go off script here. There was a post from other side. So the other side. So this was posted recently. I mean, both of these things are posted recently, but here, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull this over because there is a little bit of a modification to think about, kind of like an interesting thing. Yeah. So check this out. So what Kobe is saying is there's 15% of supply liquid on the market. This inflation emission schedule will increase the amount of supply on the market by 75% in only the first year. And he's worried that the increase in demand, he said that he doesn't believe that the demand for Apecoin is going to increase by 75%. Thus, the staking program by itself could appear harmful. There is something else to think about, and this is kind of new. Well, other side, which is Yuga Labs, came out, and what they said, and I think it's in here, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, but they said you're going to be paying an Apecoin for this drop over the weekend on Saturday. Let's see. Here it is. And before anyone asks, whatever Apecoin is earned from this auction will be locked up for 1 year. That means no voting with it in the Apecoin DAO either. So this is fascinating. It's such a small, innocuous sentence, but it actually has huge implications because you have to think that there's 15% of the supply is liquid on the market right now, right? Most of these people got this money for quote unquote free. So there's a mindset that this is free money. When the other side land drop happens, or whatever the drop is going to be, whenever that drop happens this weekend, there's going to be a rush. I believe, and this is rumor, but I believe there's going to be 100,000 lands for sale. So they're going to make a fortune. And they also know that most of their capital that's going to be coming in to purchase that land is Apecoin from the airdrop. Certainly there are people that bought Apecoin on the open market, but most of that money is going to come from airdropped coin, right? So it's coming right back to them. So that a large percent, maybe not 50%, who knows, but 5%, 10%, who knows, a percentage of that liquid supply on the open market is going right back into Yuga Labs, and it's getting locked up, meaning the supply is going to decrease on the open market, which changes this paragraph, meaning that it potentially increases the demand. If you lower supply and the demand is increased because now you're paying with the thing, that money is not coming back on the open market. So I think you're going to find, the challenge that people are going to have is I think you're going to find Apecoin. It has a potential to go higher, right? Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. Like Kobe says, I'm an idiot with this stuff. But it seems like if you do some dirty math in your head, they're certainly thinking about ways where the price of Apecoin could go higher. So there's 15% currently on the market. So this paragraph is a little out of date because the supply is going to decrease, which is going to increase demand as they use it more, right? Lower supply, more demand, meaning Yuga Labs is only going to use Apecoin. There's a lot of other projects that are offering to you can buy their project in Apecoin now. So I think you're going to see a real interesting dynamic, which is going to be worth more, buying land or holding on to Apecoin when the supply drops. It's going to be very fascinating. But Apecoin does have a real problem. How does it get additional supply into the market so that impending founder and investor unlocks do not become the lion's share of the liquid supply? Right. You don't want people to dump on you. I personally believe it is good to spend this earmarked equity, but the equity should be spent on growth and progress towards their originally stated goal, becoming the currency of Web3. It should not be spent just giving coins to people that already hold coins. And I believe this too, actually. I think, and again, this is total personal opinion. Do your own research, not financial advisor. I'm a total moron with this stuff. But I believe that Apecoin, because of the hype of it and because of Yuga Labs' success, I do believe it has the potential to become the currency of Web3 gaming. No idea if it will, but it has the potential to be that. So I think the future of Apecoin is actually pretty bright. Apecoin DAO. Apecoin DAO's remaining equity should be spent solving real problems for users. I don't know what it means to fulfill the mission of, quote, becoming the main currency for Web3, but I do know that are existing user needs within the NFT ecosystem that could be funded or built by Apecoin DAO. So now he's saying like, hey, why don't you do this instead? Besides just like, giving money to not spend money. Why is OpenSea the primary exchange for Bored Apes? Basie and Macy traders have spent 20,000 ETH on OpenSea fees in the last year. That's 60 million leaving the ecosystem every year. That is true, and I believe that Basie is going to have their own marketplace. I've seen rumors that that's something that's going to be coming at launch, like next week. Basie holders or NFT holders generally may want to obtain a line of credit on their NFT while retaining ownership. Can Apecoin DAO create the primary NFT lending marketplace? That's a cool idea. Why do Bored Ape users keep getting hacked? What educational resources are needed to help people self-custody more effectively? Could Apecoin DAO launch an attractive custody service? That's interesting as well. Et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure the community can think of better ones than me. The DAO's equity should go towards building incremental value for the Ape ecosystem users and potential users. It should solve real problems that exist for users within the NFT community. The equity should be spent acquiring and incubating utility, building revenue streams, and creating a sustainable DAO. I do agree with that, especially because of the size of Yuga Labs and the size of Bored Ape Yacht Club now. That's why there's such a big focus on this, because we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's the flagship of the NFT space. Everyone, whether you're a Bored Ape or not, or whether you care or not, you really want them to do well. You really are going to want to root for them to solve some of these problems so that your favorite NFT project, if it's not Yuga Labs, your favorite NFT project can also succeed, because these guys are taking the biggest risk of all, which is that they're the pioneers. And there's this old saying in startups that says you never want to be a pioneer, because pioneers are you can always tell the pioneer by the number of arrows in their back, right? Because like you go out and be a pioneer, most pioneers don't make it. Google's not a pioneer. It was Lycos and Netscape, right? And Opera, I think Opera's still around. There was a whole bunch of them. I mean, it's too late in the night for me to name them all. But it certainly wasn't the first, right? Before Facebook, it was MySpace. So you don't necessarily want to be the pioneer. You want to stand on the shoulder of the pioneer and learn from their mistakes. And so Yuga Labs has a challenge in that they're the pioneer. So they don't want to fall, which is one of the reasons why they raise so much money, right? Because money is a protection against fucking up, right? Again, they're writing the rules. There's no rules for this. There are no templates that they can use. It's a very hard position to be in. Does this make sense so far, guys? Let me know. Definitely want to hear your opinions on this too, especially if there's something that I haven't thought of, or because this affects us as well. Like as adult fantasy moves forward and Clever Era moves forward, we certainly have talked about staking programs, and it's articles like this that actually help to further formalize our thinking and how we want to approach mechanisms like this, right? We certainly want it to have a point. Okay, so should a staking program exist at all? I think there's a reasonable argument that 15% retail ownership is too small, and a staking program in the first year or so, while the only supply eligible for staking is retail, can increase that to more meaningful levels. I can also see an argument for a 10 to 15 year emissions program. The ape token has no mint function and cannot increase its own supply. If the DAO spends all of the ape in the first few years, it will have no more firepower to incentivize activity or acquire future value. Plus, you will achieve a wider and more desirable distribution over time by increasing the length of time someone must become an ecosystem participant. This incentivizes future generations of holders to maintain and grow the ecosystem too. So he's basically talking about, getting rewarded for working. I think. I can see an argument for why the basic NFTs should be the thing staked to remove users having to choose between joining the community via buying a BASE or buying Apecoin. Plus, it's maybe more likely that new people will be onboarded to the Ape community through NFTs rather than fungible coins, since that's how it worked for everyone in the current Ape community. I can see an argument for why the BASE NFTs should not be the thing staked. Apecoin is a brand new entity founded by the BASE community, but not actually directly attached to the NFT anymore outside of overlapping owners. And that's a big point as well. As Yuga Labs goes on, it's not really about Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? They're already talking about codas and new characters and the other side. Like it's kind of moving away from just Bored Apes, which is interesting. Excuse me. In reality, these arguments are not grounded in much reality because it is difficult to say what is the point of this staking program. What is the program trying to achieve? The proposal says some nonsense about incentivizing participants to do stuff in the Ape ecosystem, but the staking proposal itself appears detached from that goal. If Apecoin DAO wants the staking program's goal to be to acquire new members for the DAO, then a credible staking program might include issuing ongoing rewards to NFT holders within the Ape ecosystem. The Ape ecosystem might even acquire other NFT collections and issue Ape to these communities as well. Now that's fascinating. Like actually as an acquisition strategy to buy the actual property and then reward the holders of it. Like what if Ape bought Cool Cats and then the Cool Cats holders received Ape as an airdrop or something similar to how Bored Ape did? That is fascinating to me. That changes the game. In a lot of ways, I haven't really thought about it, but that would be fascinating. If the staking program's goal was to support the liquidity of the BASE ecosystem, then Ape emissions would be issued to those providing LP and Ape WETH markets, as well as those providing liquidity to NFTX style pools and otherwise. The staking program's goal was to simply pump prices, then it would require time blocking assets off market, giving higher rewards for longer time period locks and strangling supply off market for as long as possible. So we're getting a little bit into the weeds. I'm trying not to go too deep into the weeds of that. He's just giving various opinions on how how staking could work. But really comes back to this. Without the stated goal from the Apecoin board on what is the purpose of a staking program, and it's difficult to design a staking program that fulfills those goals. And I think that's where he actually nails it, because the whole point of it's not just staking for staking's sake, right? That's his entire premise of the article. It's you should have a goal that staking will help you achieve. Like here's a goal. How can staking help us fulfill that goal, right? Getting more supply into the market, bribing users to not sell, or providing fake utility are not credible goals for a staking program. Personally, I would design a small program that incentivizes introducing increasing amounts of new people to the Ape ecosystem over the next decade, and I would reward existing holders for their continued participation in the ecosystem. It is my personal belief that new users will be onboarded for the NFTs rather than the fungible assets, and thus rewards should be paid to the NFT asset holders rather than a fungible coin paying effectively an interest rate for holding it. I agree with that. It's an NFT business at its core, or at least at its roots. I would supplement the staking program with an aggressive and much larger program of purchasing value. The only problem with this about rewarding existing holders for continued participation over like a decade is that the NFT space has like a 2-week window. like I don't know if holders, certainly experienced holders would be fine with it. I would be fine with it. But I think a lot of people who just want super fast ROI when Lamborghini now launch, give me money now. Like, I don't think people want to wait 10 years, right? I mean, there's a reason why we chose against having the adult fantasy NFT de-age mechanism. There's a reason why it's not 28 years. Right. I don't think people would have enjoyed that as much as I would have. But anyway, that's just something to think about. Let's see. Do we want to cover governance? I don't know if we necessarily need to cover governance. If you want me to read it, I will. We'll cut to the sum. I will. Let's see. Yeah. Governance is a little deep, and it doesn't change the point of the article. In summary, staking mechanisms should be designed to support the goals of the ecosystem. They should be used to incentivize the parts of a product, community, or network that require people to do work or take risk. 100%. This is actually made me think and rethink things as we move into the future with adult fantasy. I love the idea that if you choose to stake something, it should have a purpose, and it should require you to do some kind of work, and it should require you to take some kind of risk. It protects the network, and it protects the business. It protects everybody, right? Those who take the biggest risk get the biggest reward, and maybe there can even be tiers of staking inside of that. I don't know, but it does benefit the network to and keep it the most, again, what's the term? Smelling good, right? So that it doesn't smell like a Ponzi or anything illegal. Forcing people, to make a decision. It's like, if I stake this, then it's going to require a little bit of work and take some risk, and then I can get the reward from it. That's the safest play, I think, right now anyway, any business can do with staking or NFTs. Apecoin DAO has $7 billion in its treasury. It should use it to incentivize people to take risks, do work, and grow the community, rather than giving it away to existing holders as an interest rate bribe for not selling. Without utility or value capture, spending 37% of the treasury on staking emissions is not only worthless, but it can actually be actively harmful to the ape's ecosystem long-term prospects. We should have protested the repurposing of the term staking from being a reward for work and a consensus mechanism with risk of losing collateral into this current, I don't know, just lock it off market to receive more coins, risk fee, lol. But it's probably too late for that now. I imagine the Gensler police are very pleased that the conflation has occurred, since the term is now inherently misleading and can mean several different things. I really hope we don't live in a world where the primary currency of the internet is called Apecoin, but I hope that I managed to keep that glaring bias out of this article, and that this is relevant for any DAO finding itself in a similar position. Lots of capital, good distribution, and the opportunity to land grab utility. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then he goes on to rant about the staking proposals poor quality, which I'm not going to go into. It's certainly an opinion that a lot of people seem to have. I did not read the staking proposal. I just read people's opinion of the staking proposal. There certainly were some crazy things. Like, I'll read you one. Like, the first one here was they thought of enacting a key to a vault holding the staked Apecoin. So basically, where is it? If the basic ecosystem NFT holder wants to stake and pool whatever, they will pair the NFT with their Apecoin to access the relevant staking pool. So basically, you would stake your NFT, you would pair your NFT with the Apecoin and stake both of it. So by default, if you sell an NFT that is actively staking Apecoin, you are also selling the key to access the associated staked Apecoin. To sell the NFT only without the associated staked Apecoin, the NFT seller would unstake the Apecoin prior to listing the NFT. This would be horrible. As he says, this means if you lose your base C, you lose your Ape too. Like, basically, if you got hacked and someone stole your base C, they would totally steal your Apecoin too. It would dramatically increase scams against base C holders. It would be horrible. So that is a really poor quality in my opinion as well. Anyway, I'm curious. What do you guys think? That's pretty much the end of it. I'm not going to go into like all the reasons why was a bad proposal originally, but I am curious to know what you guys think of this. Do you think that staking needs to be something beyond just don't sell, give me money, lol, or whatever he said? For being able to provide somebody capital or rewards for locking up either an NFT or a coin without doing any work and without actually benefiting the network. I'm curious to know what you guys think. So do me a favor, leave a comment in chat, leave a comment below, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. I know this was a deep article. Usually it's a little easier to riff on stuff that is not so technical, but I think that it's important for us as a community to discuss the hard things and to talk about some of the deeper areas of the swimming pool so that we can come up with new and innovative ways to solve these problems for our own community, right? For you guys. There's a lot of smart people working on this stuff, and there's no reason why we can't be a part of that conversation as well, right? So with that said, thank you guys so much. Stay tuned. We're doing the after party. We're hopping over to Discord. We're going to I don't know, maybe Dusty will pipe in. I don't know what the game schedule is. We've been doing the Lol Beans thing and Shell Shock, and I keep getting wiped out. Galubi aced me a couple of days ago. Last night, I managed myself. I did okay. Oh, we're doing Among Us. Okay, I'm a newbie to Among Us. I've wanted to play that, so I'm also going to get wiped out tonight, but it'll be fun. This is going to be fun. All right, so if you want to play Among Us in the after party, come over to Discord. We'll be there in a few minutes. I love you guys. I hope this was valuable. Again, I know it was a little more deep than we normally go into technical topics, but screw it, man. It's important for us to talk about it. That's why we're the intelligent corner of YouTube for this. All right, new one, hype. Yeah, me too. It's I have Among Us. I've watched a lot of YouTube playthrough videos on that because I have kids. So yeah, I can't wait to play it. See you there. Awesome, guys. Right on. Thank you again. See you next time. Peace out. See you in Discord.